All right, welcome to episode 216 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and this week, it's just me. Everybody else had some stuff they had to do, so I'm just going to be doing a short episode this week, just kind of covering a few things, just so we're not missing another week, because I know we've been very busy recently, but that's just the way things work out. We may have a couple episodes in the future that we may have some issues with in regards to vacations and other trips that are having to come up, as well as work. But we will do our best to keep that going as we move forward. But first thing off, we usually we'll talk about what we've been doing. For me, as you can kind of see as well, I've been playing a little bit of Pragmata, which I was hoping to talk with the guys about a little bit. I've been very impressed a little bit I've played so far on the Switch 2, but I was able to actually get the amiibo that came out from this of Diana, but that's coming from Nintendo. I had to order it from them. Steven, thankfully, was awesome enough to give me a heads up about that so I could pick it up. So that'll be coming here. The other thing I've been playing a lot of is Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, which this game is absolutely hilarious and so weird with all the stuff you can do. I've made a small group of people on there so far, mostly myself, my wife, Amanda, my daughter, Jennifer, one of my best friends, Remy, and then I ended up making up a version of Data, like a time traveling, he's stuck in the past type thing, as well as a little guy called Little Death, who I put into this little monk's outfit that looks like the Death from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or Bogus Journey, sorry. And he can float around, all kinds of weird things you can do with that, but it's a surprisingly fun game. The other thing I've been playing a lot of is I did get my Doom for Super Nintendo, which I put the box of that here somewhere. I'll find it later. Oh, here it is. This is the version from Limited Run Games. As you can see, the Forever Physical, Bethesda, and everything else in there. This is the version that uses the Rumble controller that I got. So it plays on actual Super Nintendo hardware, but can give force feedback as you play. And it's got more of the levels, almost the entire games, some of the expansions. Those parts are in there. They added in circle strafing, so now you can strafe left and right. The characters still can't turn around, so you can't see the backs of them. They're always facing towards you, so sneaking up on things is a little trickier. I had a few issues where I would get caught on corners, which may just be a design difference in the fact that it allows for the strafing while trying to run faster at that lower resolution. It kind of gave me a headache after a while, but I do have to say, it's a very impressive port and a kind of a nice light blue color for the cartridge, comparison to the original Super Nintendo release's red cartridge for that with a version of the Super FX chip. But we'll go ahead and move on from that and jump into our first little bit of news for this week. All right, so Neo Geo has ended up coming back. We have the new Neo Geo AES Plus coming November 12th, 2026. Touted by them as a no emulation redesign or re-engineered ASCII chip system so that it's running the games as if it's running on original hardware. The main difference is being this newer updated hardware has the capability for HDMI output, though we're not sure of what the resolution on that would be. But it does have an analog video output, so you can still hook this up to a CRT to run it. But beyond that, it's not going to come cheap. We're looking at the main system itself being $250 for the base system. If you want a wireless gamepad, like the console control style, that's going to be another $60. The memory card, which is a 16 kilobyte, that's going to be $35.99. An extra wireless arcade stick, because it comes with a wired arcade stick, but an extra wireless, that's going to cost you $119.99. Then if you want the anniversary edition, which is a white version of the original system with a white wired controller, that's going to be $350. And then lastly, they have the $1,000 Neo Geo Ultimate Edition. This is the version that comes with a wired and wireless arcade sticks, wireless gamepad, 10 game carts, which includes Metal Slug, The King of Fighters 2002, Garou, Mark of the Wolves, Big Tournament Golf, Shock Troopers, Samurai Showdown 5 Special, Polestar, Twinkle Star Sprites, Magician Lord, and Overtop. All those will become available in a storage container on that Ultimate Edition. Not sure if I'm going to be getting one of these because this does require original or new cartridges to play. All the new cartridges that are being printed as well as the controllers and everything, will work with original systems. So you can go backwards and use these if you already own a Neo Geo system or AES. The arcade stuff should still work with your adapters because it's supposed to be operating on a similar designed new version of the chip. So hopefully we'll have to see kind of how this goes. I would love to see other companies come out with similar ideas where they're releasing newer versions of older hardware that can be required to run some of these older like cartridges and things. Like Nintendo, it'd be great to have an original NES that can correctly operate and run NES cartridges, but maybe have an option for something beyond that, as getting those can be very tricky. Next up, Playmaji announces a completely re-engineered remix version of their Polymega hardware. As they stated, quote, over the past decade, production has faced some well-known challenges. To address this, we've almost completely re-engineered the Polymega base unit with new upgraded hardware that is several times more powerful than the original PM01. So pretty much the Polymega hardware was designed to be like an emulation box where you could put in your physical media. It had a disk drive already, so disk-based games could be played right out of the box, which would include like, Sega Saturn, Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD, PlayStation 1 titles, things like that. They couldn't do PlayStation 2. That was too powerful out of the box for that. But the original model could do N64 with some limitations and things. But this new one, they're saying, will have more CPU cores, higher clock speeds, double the RAM, increased internal storage, and a quieter operation. With the first noticeable change, short term, will be improved Nintendo 64 operations. So we'll be able to see the performance of that kind of increasing for how that goes. Now, the kicker is, like, if you already bought one of these, you're kind of left in the lurch that your hardware is now the older version. And some of these people have only had it for not even a year. Others were still waiting for it. And those people, if they were still waiting, get the benefit because now they said, quote, all existing pre-orders will automatically be upgraded to the new system for free. No action is required. More hardware details are inbound, and we appreciate your patience. For those interested in getting one of the new systems, we plan to reopen pre-orders for the new base unit in the early summer. So that's going to be kind of an interesting one. Hopefully next time we get Steven on here, we can ask him because he does have a Polymega, and I'm kind of curious his thoughts about this whole situation. He's enjoyed it. He's got the light guns for it and everything. But I want to know kind of, has he had any issues with running particular titles? Does he have the N64 module? And does he think this upgrade is going to be worth enough to get, or if this is just kind of a benefit to new adopters? All right, next we have some more stuff from Playmaji. They announced the Polymega Remix and the Polymega App. Can't talk today. With Polymega Remix, you'll be able to connect it to supported Windows 11 devices to copy your physical library as if you library to it as you would on a standard Polymega device, but then be able to unplug it and play the titles using the Polymega app. So basically, instead of getting an actual Polymega main unit and then attaching to this, you'd have this smaller remix device that would plug into your computer and use that for the processing power and everything, while you then would connect the still required element modules, which are sold separately for getting like NES, Super Nintendo, N64 cartridges, TurboGrafx 16 cards, Sega Genesis, things like that, 32X. You would need to plug those in to be able to copy your library to it and then use that computer through the Polymega app in order to actually play these. Interesting enough, though, because they're saying this doesn't require a Windows 11 machine, but the promotional pictures showed the Remix device connected to a Steam Deck, which many are hoping is a device that they can come to support soon, since it's a Linux-based system, and that would likely include the upcoming and more powerful Steam machines. So that might be a better option for many people that are trying to actually play a lot of this stuff. So it'll be supported, like I said, Windows PCs, laptops, PC gaming handhelds, like my Legion Go, things like that, Intel Macs, and more, with more platforms coming in the future when they announce them. The Polymega Remix will start at $199. Will be shipping May 2026. while the Polymega app early access will be available in May as a free download from the Polymega website. So, along with the new hardware upgrade, which is kind of its own self-contained emulation box that you can work with depending on your library, this will become a means of using your physical library with emulators through your PC. And I kind of wonder, and I'd like to ask you guys to, comment below to let us know or send us a message. What do you feel the purpose of this is? Because emulation on many devices, including the Steam Deck, your Windows PCs, Macs, things like that, are already sufficient for a lot of your gameplay and everything. So are we kind of getting to that same step, but with more emulation process, but with more steps involved, where we're buying this hardware to copy over the games we have? And is that a benefit for the fact that because of lawsuits and everything with Nintendo and other companies, that sites for emulation or finding ROMs or ISOs has become so much harder now, even though they can still easily be found on Reddit and things like that? So I don't know. Let us know. I'm kind of curious your thoughts on that one. And lastly, for news today, this one I thought was just kind of a funny one. Rockstar Games got hacked, had data stolen, then it was released, and their stock went up. So the hacker group Shiny Hunters, who's been around since around 2020, breached Rockstar's secured Snowflake cloud servers and stole data. Then they messaged Rockstar publicly demanding a ransom to be paid to them by April 14th, or they will leak what they had. Obviously, I'm recording this on April 18th. But even before that, Rockstar told them, no, we're not doing anything because you didn't take massively necessary information from us. So they were just going to let it ride. So their initial message that they sent to Rockstar was, this is a final warning to reach out by 14 April 2026 before we leak along with several annoying digital problems that'll come your way. Make the right decision. Don't be the next headline. Well, this was probably, they were trying to get this done after Rockstar's last leak, which ended up leaking part of GTA 6, led to all kinds of issues of people trying to leak information and go from there, and actually was a big problem for them. This time, they were not really having to deal with a lot of issues from people. There was not any public information that was taken, so forth. They had gained access to cloud servers via Anodot, which is a cloud cost monitoring analytics software device for data management, where they were able to access Rockstar's data while looking like legitimate access by having their keys. So yeah, they ended up leaking the information, sending out some of it. But this ended up giving sales and profit data, as well as some active player numbers for titles Rockstar has released over the past few years, which was not originally publicly known. So a few fun facts. This actually led to a 5% jump in Rockstar's stock price when this all got out, for a gain of almost potentially $1 billion. So it gave them a significant amount of money to have this leaked. Grand Theft Auto Online was earning the company almost $1.3 million a day between September 2025 and April 2026. Generally $9,592,109 a week, with a spike of $27,889,791 at one point. So the average comes out to around 1.3 million a day between those couple of months. They listed an annualized earning estimate for GTA Online of around $498.8 million a year, as well as another $26.4 million a year for Red Dead Redemption Online, which is a significantly less of an earner, but still an impressive amount that a lot of companies would want their games to be able to do, even on that lower end. And then lastly, it also came out there's almost 10 million weekly active users at an average of almost 400,000 of those being weekly paying members just for Grand Theft Auto Online. So these numbers made investors and other people very interested, because it actually showed they were making more money than people anticipated or thought they were making, which led to a spike in their revenue via their stock. So yeah, this is like the first time I think I've seen a stock issue where someone's data, there was a data breach. It was first time I've seen a data breach where it led to good an outcome for the company. So yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, Rockstar's kind of on a path here leading up to Grand Theft Auto 6, and we'll just have to see where they go with it. Also, PC numbers were incredibly low, which probably shows why they're more focused on PlayStation 5 and Series X for consoles as their main goal for where to put Grand Theft Auto 6, with PC rolling in at some point in the future. All right, let's go ahead and get over to the speed run real quick. All right, so Absolute Batman and Gotham by Gaslight Batman have been added to LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. That title is coming out later this year as kind of a LEGO version of the Arkham games, with a lot of the similar mechanics, but covering a whole history of Batman, be it the movies, the comics, the cartoons, and more. So I'm looking forward to this one, as it's going to be a massive dive into Batman lore, and I'm a huge Batman fan. I haven't been the biggest fan of the Absolute Batman, not because I'm fine with it being there. It's just the design and everything kind of didn't catch my eye. But that's fine. There's so many versions of Batman. Everybody can have different ones. I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. It just hasn't really caught my attention yet. I had very similar reactions with like the dark metal and all that stuff, because it just didn't quite fit right. I'm a fan of a lot of the late 70s, early 80s Detective Comics style, the 90s Batman animated series style, and then a lot of the Jim Lee stuff from like the Hush is some of my favorite as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing those. Next up, Star Trek Resurgence is being delisted surprisingly quickly after its 2023 release, or less than a year ago, specifically for the Switch, which was not until August 25th of last year. I ended up picking this up for my Switch 2 because it was on sale for $20. I wanted to get it before it disappeared, because as the time of this recording, or even before this, Steam had already delisted it. It was gone. I have it physically on the Xbox Series X, or I guess it's on Xbox One. I can play it on my Series X. So I still have the game on there, but I wanted to get it on Switch just to try it out as a portable version. And I have to say, I'm going to compare it more. That game runs really janky on there. So I want to see if there's any way to kind of up that. But I played it docked on my Switch 2, and it just ran really bad. I don't know if it's an optimization thing or what, but I was kind of shocked by how that turned out. And lastly, for the speed run, the Midgar and Tomb Raider special levels will be leaving Power Wash Simulator on May 19th. So get them now while you can. You got a little over a month. This date also marks the end of the developer's former relationship with Square Enix in June, with Square Enix having supported the developers with publishing the game on PC and consoles before this. But if you have claimed it before this date, you can still continue to play them. No word on if you'll be able to re-download them or not, but you will be able to play them wherever you have them loaded in. All right. Well, since it's just me, we're not going to have a big question this week. It would be kind of weird just to debate myself, but hopefully in the future, we'll be able to do that in our next episode when the others are with me. But this is a very, very short episode, but it's been nice to have everybody here. I've been your host, Jeremy Powers. This has been episode 216 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. If you're watching the video version of this, feel free to go and listen to the audio version as well. Look up Zenspath Entertainment Network whenever you get your podcast to find us. Subscribe there. Leave us a review. It helps us out a lot on whatever app you use, and let us know over on our Discord, or you can find us on our socials to kind of find out, let us know where you've left these reviews so we can see them, and maybe we'll be able to call them out, and figure out a way with that. You can find our stuff for the Discord or other parts over at our website, zenspath.com. That's where I try and write articles on occasion, but usually it's just a quick way to find a lot of our socials, our Discord, and other things about the show. And if you're listening to the audio version of this and you want to see the video version so you can see my lovely face or the rest of us when they're here, you can head over to youtube.com/ZenspathCom. Subscribe, leave us a like, leave us a comment. Usually we'll have the big question, but that way you can just kind of, respond with that and let us know your answers, and we'll start bringing those up as well as kind of discussion points. All right. Well, I've been your host, Jeremy Powers, and I'm out. Peace. This has been a production of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast by the staff at Zenspath.com. The show is created and edited by Jeremy Powers. You can find the video edition of the show on our YouTube channel at ZenspathCom. The audio edition is located wherever you find your podcasts. Links to all versions of the show, as well as to our Discord where you can talk with us directly, is located at www.zenspath.com. Please leave us a like, thumbs up, comment, and review where you can to help us grow.